So, my dear friends, today we are in La Dordogne, the département of La Dordogne, or in the Perigord. We are close to the village of Limeuil, a beautiful village which is close to the confluence of the Dordogne River and the Weser River. And I'll take you discovering a beautiful little Romanesque church, the church of Saint Martin. A very dear church for me. I'm going to explain you why. Actually, I know this church since a very long time, since my childhood, because during holiday time, in the family house and in my bedroom, there was a painting hanging at the wall, painting of this church. And you know what? This painting, I still have it. Look at that. A beautiful little watercolor by a painter whose name was Quentin. Little marvel.
Well, you say this is a church of Limeuil.
Yes.
But where is the village? It seems to be very isolated from a church.
Yes, it is. Actually, there was another church in the fortified village, but probably it was too small or too far away for the many people who were working around the port of Limeuil. The port of Limeuil was quite important, and it was an important stopover for the sailors on the Dordogne and the Weser River, who were transporting all kinds of goods from the Massif Central mountains towards the area of Bordeaux. So actually, after 1276, the church of Saint Martin became the parish church of the village of Limeuil.
Oh, look, Bruno, there is a plan.
Yes, you should remark something, no?
Yeah, there seems to be only one wing to the transept. Why is that?
Actually, it's not really a transept. Originally, the church in the 12th century is this rectangle, in other words, the nave. There was the four choir, and here a rounded apse. And later, in the 13th century, were added two chapels, one in the northern side and one in the southern side. This one was later destroyed by a fire. So it looks like a transept, but it's not original.
But look, also, the church doesn't seem to be so aligned.
Yes, it is true. Actually, there is a difference of 6 degrees. It's not in the axis. And, well, actually, nobody knows why exactly. It's not so rare in the Middle Ages that you find this anomaly. There are some cathedrals where the apse is not in line with the nave. Is it symbolically representing the head of Christ, which is leaning on the cross? Is it a lack of precise measurement tools? Is it a problem of ground? Well, actually nobody knows exactly. So by the way, it's such a good example of those many little Romanesque churches that are found in the Perigord. I know that they can look a little simple and even austere, but the proportions are quite harmonious, and with this sun ray, look at this marvelous ochre limestone.
I'm a little bit disappointed because
Why?
there is no decoration, no sculpture. It seems to be very poor, in fact.
Actually, outside it's quite poor. There are, it is true, very few sculptures, except some sculpted corbels, and also this kind of archivolt with these checkerboard sculptures, but you should be able to see some more decorations.
Can see some cross here or a flower.
Yes, so you have what we call a croix pâté, a pâté cross. Then you find, yes, kind of sculpted flower in this archivolt.
Maybe some letters or so.
Yes, you find on one of the arches, you find the word pax, P-A-X, which is peace in Latin. Nothing else?
What is this animal? Is it a wolf and a goat?
Yes, that's the most interesting. Yes, it looks like a feline or a wolf, yes. An animal who is pursuing a smaller one, maybe kind of a kid goat. And we don't know exactly what this kid goat is doing, either eating the leaves of a bush or finding a protection in a bush, which is perhaps representing the forest. So now you can better see the proportions of this Romanesque church, the nave, then the fore choir, which is topped by a cupola. This is quite classic in this area, and in the bottom a rounded apse. You will also notice that there are 4 flat buttresses. They are suggesting that before there was a stone vault, which is now replaced by this wooden ceiling. But now I want to show you something which is quite seldom. I speak of this engraved slab. Actually, it is what we call a dedication stone. And thanks to this stone document, we're going to get plenty of information.
What kind of information is given by the stone? Because I really can't read it at all.
But this must be translation over here.
Yes, there is a translation. It's normal that you don't understand because it's written in ancient letters, Latin letters, which were meant for this kind of stone. Actually, it's interesting because it gives us the year of consecration of the church, which is 1194. It's also giving us plenty of names. First, the name of the Pope, who was Celestine III, then the name of the King of France, Philip Augustus, then the King of England, Richard, who was also the Duke of Aquitaine. In other words, this part of France was actually English at the end of the 12th century. There is also the name of the Count of Perigord, Élie, and even the name of the first priest, actually he was a deacon, Hébrard de Villars, the first priest of the Church of Saint Martin. But there are plenty of other names mentioned, particularly one which is interesting. It is Saint Thomas Becket, the Archbishop of Canterbury, who was actually assassinated in 1170 by the King Henry II, the father of Richard the Lionheart. Hence the conclusion by some people that this church was built upon orders of Richard the Lionheart in order to expiate the crime of his father Henry II.
So Bruno, there is absolutely no sculpture in this church, but you are talking about decoration. Is it about painting?
Yes, I speak of paintings, and you have to imagine that originally, certainly, the church was entirely covered with paintings. So there are different kinds of paintings. The oldest were probably painted on a very thin coating. You can see the little square with those geometrical signs. This is one of those original paintings dating back probably from the very end of the 12th century. There are more recent paintings. I speak of the 16th century. It is this black strip what we call a funeral litter with some coat of arms of the noble families who were protecting the church. For example, the family of Turenne or La Tour d'Auvergne, etc. Let's forget them for now. And I want to speak of the 13th century painting, those that you can discover in the bottom of this of the house, the remains of what was a more complex scene. So these paintings are representing Christ's life and death. They are purposefully divided by this central window. To the left is childhood, and to the right the Passion. On the left, in the upper register, you can see Mary the Virgin. She's dressed in blue, sitting on a kind of bench. On her lap is the baby Jesus, standing in a yellow dress. And in front of them is a person kneeling, dressed in red. The left hand of this person is probably holding maybe a hat, taking off a hat, or why not a crown, since it is a representation of the adoration of the Magi. And of course, above there is a big shining star, the star that led the three mages to the newborn King of the Jews. On the right, on the lower register, you can see what looks like the presentation in the temple. There is a kind of person sitting on a platform, probably the old Simeon, and in front of him we find again Mary the Virgin with the baby Jesus in her arms. She's also holding a candle.
But why is she holding a candle in her hand?
Don't forget that it is a candle mass, now in February. It is a pagan rite about light that was borrowed by the church. Hence the presence of this candle as a symbol of light. Behind Mary is a man dressed in yellow with a red beret, who actually is her husband Joseph. Beside Joseph is another woman with a funny hat, which actually could be her hair, carefully dressed with a veil and a wimple. According to the Gospel of Luke, it would be a prophetess named Anna. Now, to the left, there is a third register in bad condition, but it is quite easy to understand what happens, since we find again the same character dressed in yellow with a red beret and a kind of bundle. It is Joseph, and above all, behind him is a donkey which was probably carrying Mary and her baby, since in front of us is probably a depiction of the flight to Egypt. And now, to the right of the central window is a depiction of Christ's agony and death. There are two more registers. The upper one represents the crucifixion. To the right you can see Saint John, and to the left Saint Mary. You see the darkness, although we are in the middle of the day, and above the moon to the right in its last quarter, and to the left the sun, which is no longer shining, and you understand that even the cosmos is mourning for him. And the last register is representing the deposition, the moment when Christ is taken off the cross. Again, one can see Saint John, very tall, to the right, and to the left, Saint Mary. She looks like kissing her dead son's hand. There are also two servants, one on a ladder, taking off the nails from the hand of Christ, and another one which very respectfully is catching hold the body. There are more paintings, but they are in the northern chapel. Let's go and see them. You can see the very original paintings of the 12th century. These are much more recent, probably dating back to the 16th, even the 17th century. And they are representing a bishop and a deacon. And how can we decipher who they are thanks to their attributes? There is an hammer, holded by this bishop, his blessing. The hammer is the attribute of Saint Éloi in French, Saint Eligius. Saint Eligius was the saint patron of all the metal workers, like goldsmiths, blacksmiths, and so on. And to the right, it's a little confusing, because this deacon is holding what looks like
bottle.
It's not a bottle. According to the experts, it's a kind of a hand bell. And the hand bell is the attribute of Saint Anthony the Great, the first hermit who lived in the 4th century. So there is more to see on this pillar, because above there is another painting which is quite interesting. I found nowhere no expert description, but I think it's still possible to understand the meaning of those paintings, although they are in very bad condition. If you watch above the coat of arms, you can see plenty of red dots, but one of these dots is not red, it is yellow, it looks like a kind of little star. And the little star to the right, there is a kind of a stem. I think it is a spur. And the star actually is a laurel, and the stem is a shank. After the spur, there should be a heel and a foot. I think you can see the foot, and the beginning of the leg and the thigh. So it's the leg belonging to a horseman. Then after, in the middle, you find those vertical red paintings. Actually, they look like very much like the harness of the horse. And to the left, the more important, you find what looks like a small person, naked, who is kind of wrapping him in a long red fabric strip. Well, a horseman, a naked man, and a red strip, well, should be obvious, for me at least. It is the dividing of the cloak of Saint Martin. Okay, so it's time to leave. That's all, folks. I hope you found this tour informative.
Yes, very, very instructive.
Okay, so there will be more coming soon, and I'll see if you are not fed up.
No, looking forward to the next visit.
Thank you.